Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Dungeons and Dopamine.
Hi, welcome to episode 92 of Dungeons and Dopamine. I'm Bree.
I'm Jess.
And this is our first virtually recorded. I don't know how to word it.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's a little of both, right? So we're both virtual because my tiny human has the plague. I guess I can't call her tiny anymore.
I don't
smaller
want the
than me
plague.
human.
Yeah, she's not very tiny.
She's not so tiny. And you didn't want to get the plague, so we are virtual. So we're virtual, but also we're recording. Camera's there.
Ta-da! And we're obviously very good at it.
Amazing.
We know exactly what we're doing.
I'm a professional streamer now.
You are. You're, like, famous.
Yeah, like Markiplier levels. Do you know who Markiplier is?
No.
So cool.
But I support you.
I love that. Thanks. This is also the first time we've been together since you came back from Disney, and I gave away one of my organs.
To the garbage.
To the garbage. I have pictures
because
of
can I see them?
You can.
Like, not right now.
Sure.
I mean,
you show me your
unless
Disney photos.
Like,
I'll show you my innards.
Yay! This is a win-win for both of us.
Exactly. They make me grin. Yours was, well, I would say way more expensive, but we're probably right about in line with each other cost-wise.
Probably.
Damn it. Yours is way more fun for the price.
Yes, that is 100% true.
But yeah, they grossed me out, but my mom wanted to see them too, so. You guys both worked in medical.
Yeah, it makes us weird.
Yeah, that's what did it.
Yep. It wasn't anything before that. I was totally normal until No, my lips are not funny. They move the appropriate amount.
Don't worry.
Actually, what I heard was I can be very sneaky around deaf people because they can't read my lips.
Exactly.
So that's my next career plan.
That's a positive spin to put on that.
Some sort of spy for
the deaf
people?
community.
I don't know.
Or the hearing community against the deaf community.
That sounds less happy.
Yeah, or like cool. That kind of makes you like the bad guy.
This is my villain origin story.
Perfect. I always pictured it would be something like this.
Yep. All Ryan's fault.
It usually is.
If he hadn't helped us get to this point in recording today, I would tell you to get rid of him, but we obviously need him.
We clearly need him for this to happen. So Disney was amazing.
It was incredible. We had a great time. I hope I never go back.
Fair enough. I get it.
We would 100% do Animal Kingdom again. I feel like we missed some really cool stuff in Animal Kingdom. I don't think Magic Kingdom would be a hit for Connor again. I think he was Tron was great, but I think the rest of the park was kind of underwhelming for him.
One and done,
especially
for him.
Yeah, and we had already done Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios before that, so a lot of the crazy adventure rides. So Magic Kingdom was a little we got to do Tiana's Bayou, and that was pretty good, and then Tron obviously, but everything else was kind of meh.
I could see him liking the party because that was pretty cool. Like the Halloween party. I mean, you'd have to spend extra on it. That's the crappy part.
Right. And then obviously Epcot. Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind was everybody's top favorite ride for sure, but the rest of the park was a bummer for the kids. They were not into it at all. It was sad.
Did he like Tower of Terror?
Oh my goodness, he loved it.
Yay!
He would have like gotten on that ride again if we could have just walked back on it.
Carly
Meanwhile,
too.
I was terrified because it's those free fall rides that still scare me like into my soul. So
that's why we used to ride Power Tower at Cedar Point.
Yeah. And then we totally surprised Connor with the Comic-Con thing at the end. So last minute, we found out that MegaCon was happening in Orlando while we were there. And part of MegaCon, you could get after-hour tickets for Universal Studios for like $100. And so we did the Comic-Con thing, which was a little disappointing for us. Like, the vendors were amazing. The artwork was incredible. There was a group there that builds droids, like, out of garbage and things that they can find. So that was cool, but we didn't get to see any famous people. It was even more crowded than Disney. We had been at Disney for 4 days, and then went to MegaCon.
Me. If you really stop and think about it, Orlando's
you're crowded
huge.
into a smaller area.
Yeah.
But we were like, after being in crowds for 4 days, we were like, this is too much. So we only spent like 3 hours there, and then we went to Universal Studios. And so going there, Connor thought we were going to the airport. We were in the Uber, and Connor was like, or we started to see the resort that we were staying at Universal. And I was like, hey Connor, what do you think of that hotel over there? And he was like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, do you want to like go stay there tonight? And he was like, what? We got to go to the airport. And I was like, well, and the Uber driver turned, and it was like Universal Studios, and Connor was like, Mom, what are we doing? And I was like, I thought we'd stay another day and go check this out. And he was stoked.
Did you cry at his reaction? Because I would have cried.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. It helped that we were in a stranger's Uber, so.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But then, so by the time we got to Universal, it was just before close, so they were starting to like kick everybody else out of the park. By the time it got dark, we could literally walk onto like the Harry Potter ride. We walked onto the Gringotts ride with the dragon in the bank. The explanation for it made it sound like there would only be a handful of rides open, and everything was open. Connor got to ride like, I don't even, Rip, Rock, and Roller Coaster or something. Connor and Zach rode it twice in a row.
Oh my
Like, they walked onto it and they got front row, and I wouldn't ride it because it's like straight up and down, and by that time my adrenaline system was just out of whack.
Right.
And
that's like a
so
tilt
it's
test
like
for you.
late. It's like 9:30 at night, and it's dark, and you can see the whole park. And then they're in the front row. They do this crazy roller coaster, and they got back, and the guy was like, "Do you want to go again?" And they were like, Connor was like, "Yeah." And they just had to move seats, and he got to go twice in a row. So
that's so cool.
if I ever I still want to do Universal again, especially since they're building a new park, or it's almost done. They opened this spring. Probably when Connor's like 11, we'll do the Harry Potter thing and bring him back down. But now I don't want to do it ever again, except like during the special after hours when nobody else is there and you can just walk on coasters.
That's how I felt about the Halloween party and Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to wait in a line.
Right. I could pay extra money and not do this. That would be awesome.
And Disney was like, cha-ching, and they wrote my name down on a list.
Yeah, and they're like, every special event, we'll email you.
We got you covered, girl.
We know you'll be back.
Well, I'm so excited that you guys had fun. I cannot wait to see pictures. That's the biggest problem with you not being able to be here. But we are getting like, that's us. Yeah,
this is us. We're on screen, and I look funny. My lips are funny.
Exactly. You love this.
Jeez, Ryan.
Thanks a lot, man.
Ruined it forever.
I also want to call out and Hank out. Our friend Hank, we've talked about him a lot. Red Chunk Productions. He has his own podcast as well as streams.
A couple, I think. Yeah.
Does he? I don't know all of what Hank does. He does too much. Calm down,
Jeez,
Hank.
Jessica.
Oh, no, we're blaming Hank for this.
Oh, right.
So get it together.
Jeez, Hank.
So
Loyalty.
Come on, man. You and your funny lips. The last episodes that I've edited, we've made fun of Ryan for the way he ties his shoes. Now it's your lips.
Forgot about that. I like how we're making fun of Ryan for my lips. Perfect.
Sure. He's the one that said it.
Right?
He's gonna be like, I didn't mean that they're funny. He's gonna get a problem.
Not what I said.
Anyway, sorry. Not Ryan anymore, Hank. So I stumbled onto one of his lives on TikTok, and I was like, hey, he supports us all the time. That's cool. I'm gonna support him. And got invited to hang out and play with them Saturday night. And we played Among Us. So first thing, I was very, very new to Among Us. I played it back when it came out, but it hasn't changed a ton, but some stuff about it has changed. So I joined them and I'm playing and everything's going great and they're really funny. The whole group that was playing was really fun. I had a blast. And it comes down to Hank, me, and one other person. And Hank calls an emergency meeting. Among Us works like that. You try and figure out who the imposter is, and the imposters are murdering people. And I was not the imposter that time. And so Hank calls a meeting and he's like, man, it's other guy, who I don't know if he wants his name on a podcast or not. You know how famous we are. It can become a problem for people.
It could go viral.
Exactly. So he's like, no, it's other guy. And I'm like, okay, well. And other guy's like, no, that's ridiculous. Of course I'm not the murderer. Obviously it's Hank. And then Hank starts throwing out mutilated Lord of the Rings quotes at me. And I'm like, no, Hank is trying too hard. And so I vote him as the imposter, but it wasn't Hank.
I would just assume Hank is always the imposter, I'll be honest.
Hank is always sus. So then the next round, I am the imposter. So there's this, oh, I'm shaking the camera. There's an earthquake. So there's this video, because Hank was streaming, of us all having a conversation about the last round and how I betrayed him. And I told him that he was like too innocent. He was too adamant about being innocent, which of course he was like, all right, next time I'll just not be.
I'll just be less innocent.
I found him in the game and murdered him right after this conversation ended. And there's a video out there of that, and it's actually hilarious.
It's not your fault that you played the game well.
I like it the way you think, funny lips. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
I'm just gonna change my name on Discord to Funny Lips. So when we start streaming full time, everyone will know.
Oh, that's Funny Lips and Jess.
Of Dungeons and Dopamine fame.
This is bad because the camera shows how red I get when I laugh.
When I was down here in my beautiful forest hiding spot earlier, I was very cold because it's in my basement. But now I'm overheating. I don't understand.
A blanket on my lap, actually. I should remove that. So anyways, yeah, I had a really good time. I don't know if they're going to invite me back.
Hank has you banned. He's like blocked you from even seeing his videos now.
Talk to me anymore. He'll see us at Comic-Con and just flip me off and then hug you.
And then move on.
I don't want to talk.
I didn't even know you had a co-host.
I bet you'd be a bitch if you did.
Totally sounds like Hank.
So anyway, let's topic.
What? I was supposed to have a topic?
Shoot. Podcasting is so much harder than I realized.
I thought I just had to show up and talk. I have to prepare for this?
I mean, last week, hopefully I can edit it to make it a cohesive something. But last
Make
week...
it sound like we prepared for it.
It was just a mess. Should be funny, but that doesn't always do enough. Plus, also, funny to you and I is not always funny to everyone else.
I think that's wrong. I think everybody thinks we're funny, no matter what.
I love the way you think. You're just a
Thanks.
breath of fresh air in the forest creek.
It's very warm in my forest creek today, which is nice compared to outside.
That is very nice. I was gonna say I'm in like a.
You're in
I'm
the
in an
dope office.
advertisement for us. That's all.
It's funny because they do look kind of like I'm trying to point at them, like they're behind me. They do
kinda
look
yeah.
kind
like
of
depth.
virtually staged there.
Yeah. The only thing that like kind of ruins it is when you move it. Like it does. This.
When you do this.
Maybe we don't want to record this stuff.
Never mind. Let's just take a week off. We'll try again next week.
Try again later.
Oh goodness.
We better. It would be better to put nothing out at all than this.
I don't know.
I'm not sure I can agree with that.
This is some high quality bonus content.
This is
Because
just our
it's usually
content.
regular content.
The only reason it's bonus is because our faces are here. Now everyone knows how we truly find ourselves this funny.
Yep.
Okay. I need to get the tissues.
Right? I'm gonna need to remember that for next time.
You know, I've been dreaming of us getting back together.
Really? That's so convenient because I'm gonna tell you all about dreams right now.
What? You're pixelating away like it is a dream.
So this is actually another suggestion by Leanne.
Thanks,
This
Leanne.
dream
She's
came
like,
up
the rest of your
where-
content sucks. Can you talk about something I want to hear about?
She's like, let me just give you a list of approved topics. Thanks.
This is what people actually want. Stop being ADHD weirdos.
That's exactly what she said. How do you know?
I was there.
Oh, shoot.
I should have looked up at the camera when I said I was there. Did I
That
look
is
angry?
really creepy.
Creepy is fine. I'll take it. I can't do angry very well, so I'll do what I can do.
Take what I can get.
Exactly.
All right. So we were talking about dreams at a party Leanne had, and I'm actually surprised neither of us have covered this topic yet. It's kind of right up our podcast alley.
It really is. You're right. It is weird that we haven't done it.
I even had to check with you. Like, I was sure I was wrong, and we had
Except-
covered it, and
hold
I
on,
just
though.
forgot.
Let's cover that for a second. So
Let's go back to that.
let's rewind for a moment. Let me pull up what you asked me. Because
Jessica thought I murdered someone.
so this is what Bree said to me. I hate that I have to ask this, but, and then she just asked if we've covered dreams, which is totally cool, except when your phone gets a message and it shows just a brief, like, little bit of the conversation, all it said was, I hate to have to ask this. Then it left it there. So
many ways that could have gone. So many directions.
you
But
hate
no.
to have to ask what? Like, if we can stop doing the podcast or if we could
I
break
hate to
up.
ask this, but I need your house.
I hate to have to ask this, but would you be willing to help me bury someone? Yes.
Also that, yes.
If Saturday taught me anything, I'm a great murderer and great liar.
See?
I'm in.
Plus, you signed up for this best friend thing a long time ago,
Long
so
time ago.
burying bodies is just part of that.
Part of it. All of them that I mean, what? Oh, there's a
Why
cat.
are you acting like we've never done this before?
we have special shovels. They're named Bernadette and Petra. I'm sorry, I had no names. Bernadette was a good shovel name.
Interesting choices. Petra.
There's a character in Destiny 2 called Petravenge. I think she's also in
Okay.
Destiny 1. And we played Destiny 2 the other day. I'm not going to tell you that we didn't talk to her or see her at all, but apparently that's in my brain.
Stuck there forever.
So anyway, go
Anyway.
ahead. Yeah, dreams.
Dreams. Now that we're half hour into this.
I'm not sorry.
So, I remember when we were younger, both of us used to have very vivid dreams pretty much every night. I
Yes.
remember, like, because we apparently needed to talk to each other every second of the day, we would have, like, morning conversations before we met up, and then we would have school conversations, and then we would have afternoon conversations. And a lot of times we were talking about, like, what dream we had or how crazy it was. I bet if you pull out our old notebooks, we have dreams in there. Like, I feel like it was a big part of our lives.
Absolutely.
And now I pretty much never dream, or if I do, I don't remember them. Or especially lately, because I'm on a new medication for my POTS that's typically prescribed for PTSD and nightmares. If I do dream nowadays, they're very boring, realistic, like day-to-day dreams, which
like
is
going to the office or like
fine. Yeah. Yeah. I wake up a lot feeling like I just worked all night. That's all.
That's I still have very vivid dreams. Not every night any longer. I have very vivid dreams still, constantly. So very
That
interested in
does
what
not
you're about to
surprise
say.
me. And I will get to why later.
Great.
I will say that I did read that teenagers are more likely to have super vivid dreams, and it does tend to lessen just as we age. And I will say that I've noticed that my dreams kind of fluctuate with my hormonal cycle, so I could see how it would make sense that teenagers have a lot more vivid dreams than we do.
Yeah.
And then I also wanted to note that ever since coming back from Disney, a majority of my dreams involve really large structures or buildings or areas that I'm like navigating and trying to find and get through. In fact, this one I had this morning, I was in, it was almost like a spaceship or like a really big building, like Mall of America, where there was just a bunch of stuff, but you were indoors. So I was like walking through residential areas and I was walking through all these different things and running into these people. And I ran into you and I was telling you about how while I was at Disney, I was hospitalized, and Disney is so thorough with their like magic that even the nurses in the Disney hospital were dressed as stormtroopers and they marched as they pushed my hospital bed like down the hallways.
Okay, but like that would have been amazing. Like my surgery
Right?
staff was super cool, but none of them were dressed like a stormtrooper.
Right? I bet if Disney, I know there is a hospital near Disney, but I bet if it was actually Disney owned, they would do that.
Absolutely.
That's super weird to me because I did not have any Disney dreams prior to going to Disney, but now I'm having like these very similar dreams repeatedly, and it all kind of feels Disney-esque. It's very strange. So anyway, dreams. This week I'm going to stick more to like the scientific side of things, and next week I'll get more into the like woo-woo philosophical side. And straight from
Woo-woo.
Wikipedia.
Sorry.
Woo-woo!
You were a little too down about that.
Thanks for that encouragement.
I got you.
Straight from Wikipedia, a dream is a succession of images, ideas, and emotions and sensations that usually occur involuntarily in the mind during certain stages of sleep. Humans typically spend about 2 hours per night dreaming, and each dream lasts about 5 to 20 minutes, although the dreamer may perceive dream time as being much longer or shorter.
Yeah.
And
for
on
sure.
average, I think it said adults tend to dream and remember their dreams about twice a week. Or if you ask Disney, a dream is a wish your heart makes when it's fast asleep.
And we do ask Disney to sponsor us.
Yes. Please. I will go back to Disney if they sponsor us.
I will almost do anything they want.
Right?
It gets questionable in there when I think about it.
There's a lot of things I would justify for that. You're right.
Exactly. Polynesian hotel? Yes, absolutely. I will do many
Whatever
things.
you need.
I will say what you want me to say.
Whatever you want me to say. So dreams and dreaming is unique in that it is studied in a couple different ways. So there's the actual physical study of the brain and the body, and the brain and the body and like what it does and how it reacts when we dream. And then there's like the psychology side of dreams about why we dream about what we dream about. And then the philosophical side, like what dreams mean and how we view them in society. Dreams do usually occur during REM sleep. They have been found to happen outside of REM sleep and during other stages, which can sometimes be like a medical issue or a sleep disorder, and sometimes just happens.
It seems like that would be like your sleep paralysis and stuff.
Yes, yep.
I should
and I'll
have
get
done
into
sleep
some of
paralysis
that as well.
this week so that we could have tied
Right?
together. No, I don't know if I ever want to do sleep
Come on,
paralysis.
Jessica.
Sometimes they
Sounds
say if you
awful.
talk about it, you start experiencing it.
Oh, I'm gonna skip that part today then. One interesting, or this kind of starts some interesting scientific questions, and that is that dreams and trying to study dreams is one subject that relies almost entirely on personal stories, and it can't really be proven. So the studies we do have show some basic things like how different areas of the brain might light up during dreams, or how we can report how we feel or how we act, or how our body acts when we're dreaming. But there's really no way to prove 100% what a person sees or experiences or feels in their dreams. Like, we don't have a way to plug into somebody's brain and experience the dream as it's happening. So all we have is kind of anecdotal stories from these people that come out of dreams and are trying to not only remember what they just dreamed about, but then communicate it to somebody else. And anybody that's had a crazy dream before knows how hard it can be to try to explain what you're seeing or what's happening, not to mention how fluid they can be and like wild, and they don't make sense. So trying to explain like how this morphed into this other person or how things change, we really can't prove anything scientifically. Even when we like watch, if we can watch an EEG of the brain reacting to a dream, we know somebody's dreaming and we can see the different areas of the brain light up. We still can't prove what is actually happening during those dreams. So even if the person is telling us the dream that they had and what they remember and how it happened, we can't be sure that that's how it lines up to the images that we see of the brain. Not only because time is weird in dreams, but also how, people are fallible. Do they actually remember the dream? Are they reporting the right things that happened? Are they ashamed of what happened in the dream and they don't want to share it with the researchers? Was it something or someone they shouldn't have, they feel like they shouldn't have been doing or seeing? Was it something
definitely
that
someone they
they're
shouldn't have been doing?
Exactly.
I'm sorry. It's inappropriate. It was funny, but it was inappropriate.
All of Jessica's right now. All of Jessica's dreams are inappropriate these days. This also means that we have no conclusive way to know if animals or other mammals do actually dream. And we can even go as far to say that we don't actually know if nonverbal humans dream. So we can't confirm that babies dream or even toddlers that can't talk, because we can't know what is actually happening in their brain or what they're seeing. So we can make a lot of inferences and hypotheses about dreaming, and it looks like your dog is chasing a squirrel and they're like running in their dreams and their feet are moving and they're making little noises. But because they can't report to us and we don't have technology that can actually see what is happening, none of this can be scientifically confirmed. So a lot of everything we know about dreams, and you know how frustrating this is for me, is basically guessing. Another part about it is it obviously is very unethical to physically study the workings of a living person's brain. We can't just open someone's skull and watch the way their brain reacts to different stimulus unless they're in maybe a study for like brain lesions or brain tumors or brain cancer and they're going to be having surgery. In these rare cases, sometimes there can be studies done on the brain as it's physically able to be seen. But even those can't be really conclusive because we're only studying people who have issues that require extensive brain surgery.
And it
So
seems
how
like
can we
seems like we're not like super concerned about that part when they're in that kind of a condition.
Right. Somebody comes in and they're like, "Oh, you have brain cancer and you need this surgery. Hey, while we're in there, do you mind being part of this study where you like tell us if you had a dream and we just see what your brain was doing during that?" No, people are like, can you just get the tumors out of my brain, please? Thanks."
Can you please fix this? Thanks. Not to mention their family who's like crying off on the side.
Right. And it's dreams, which is a really cool subject to study and kind of interesting, but it's not life or death situation. You're not going to cure brain cancer by studying what dreams do to
Yeah.
the brain.
Yeah. So who's paying for it too? That's the other good question.
Right. So what we do know, as I've mentioned, is that different areas of our brain lights up during dreams. Our visual areas of the brain light up during dreams similar to how they light up when a person is awake. So we know that it essentially is like your brain is actually seeing what is happening during your dreams. We also know that people that are born without senses dream without those senses. So if you are born blind, your dreams don't involve visual cues. It's only your other senses. You hear things and smell things. If you are born without hearing, you don't hear in your dreams. If you lose your vision or your hearing later in life, you may still dream with those senses because you have that input already stored in your brain, so your brain knows what that looks like.
That's interesting.
I thought this was interesting too. Another weird part of my dream last night is that I realized halfway through my dream that I wasn't wearing my glasses.
Oh.
And my vision was actually blurry and like I could feel my eyeballs. Part of my vision problem is that my eyes just don't want to focus. So I could feel that my eyes were tired and having trouble focusing in my dream. And that's the first time that has happened since I got my glasses a year ago. Also, per Wikipedia, there are some non-invasive technologies like MRIs and electromyography, which has been able to use or been able to study dreams, and they have started to make connections between muscle movement and the MRI. So they're starting to be able to tell that, like, in your dream, you tightened your hand because the EMG shows your hand muscles tightening while you're sleeping.
That's
So they're
cool.
starting to be able to make little connections like that, but it's just pretty much impossible to study with any sort of real scientific evidence. There are lots of studies that talk about how emotions and life stresses can affect our dreams. Like I said, many studies that could cite a correlation between like anxiety and stress or stress response and certain types of dreams. You're more likely to have nightmares or anxiety-ridden dreams if you are in a stressful time of your life or very anxious or worried about particular problems. And then another crazy thing about dreams is that science still doesn't know why we dream. There's a lot of different theories, and they date back pretty much to when human beings started thinking about thoughts. But because we can't study this really well, we don't know why we dream. We don't know what our brain is doing, or if it's functional, or if it's just like your brain gets bored at night and makes up stories for you because it has nothing else to do.
I've always prescribed to the thought that it is because your brain needs to like reconcile through things. That's always made the most sense to me.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of the theories, that it's kind of how your brain processes things that happen throughout the day, or how it like works through or gets rid of things that are just kind of cluttering up the brain in the back. I kind of likened it to back when we first got computers and you had to run like the system scan debugging
Yeah.
defrag software every day to like clean out the junk files and get rid of the stupid little bits that got piled up. A lot of the theories kind of feel like dreams are that. It's just how we're dealing with the day,
It's how you're
dealing with the
preparing to
thoughts
get
that
ready
get,
to
yeah.
record with me.
Exactly.
Uh,
There are also thoughts that it helps us process trauma.
I didn't
And
hurt you.
I'm so see, tonight I'm going to be dreaming about my funny lips and processing all the trauma that I now have.
Extend your new career as a spy.
Yes. Yeah, so there are lots of thoughts that it helps us process trauma or helps us deal with things that maybe we're not ready to deal with yet. But there are also studies. There's actually a Harvard study, and it's been replicated a couple times, that if you, or what they did in the Harvard study is they had their test subjects think of like a math problem or some sort of problem, textbook problem that they were working on, and they were instructed every night before bed to basically meditate on the problem or spend 5 to 10 minutes just thinking about it and really focusing on it. And in quite a few cases, they found that the brain would take that problem into the dreamscape and work through it. So it wasn't always like magically a chalkboard would appear and like the formula would be written out, but it might, give you a clue to the next step to how to fix it or to get to the right answer. And sometimes it was as simple as like, here's a chalkboard, here's the answer. And then kind of my last part, and going back to what you said in the beginning about how you still do dream very vividly, it has been suggested that those with ADHD have more vivid and frequent dreams. And this is especially true with those that have a hyperactive imagination who are especially visual. So I know you and I have talked about the meme that went around, like when you hear the word apple, like how much of the apple do you picture? Do you picture like a beautiful red apple sitting on a table and you can see it very clearly in your brain, or is it more like a gray outline of an apple or the thought of an apple? And I know
Right.
you're more on that full visual, like full picture side. So it doesn't surprise me at all that you have very vivid dreams.
I hate that feeling.
And then, again, per Wikipedia, there is considerable evidence that people who have more vivid, intense, or unusual dreams show better recall, which makes sense because if you're having wilder dreams, it probably is easier to recall them and remember them. But there is also evidence that these people who have vivid and unusual experiences score higher on measures of personality traits associated with creativity, imagination, and fantasy, such as openness to experience, daydreaming, fantasy proneness, absorption, and hypnotic susceptibility.
Oh.
So you could be hypnotized easier than most people, I guess, if you want to give that a shot.
Absolutely not.
Right. Just as a side note, there are people who report more bizarre experiences during the day. So people who see hallucinations or have like schizotype proneness, their dreams are usually more frequent, more vivid, and they are more able to recall them.
That's originally where I thought you were going with
nightmares.
That. Yeah, exactly.
And so from this, I have deduced that...
Look, nothing would surprise me anymore.
No, yours is just from the ADHD. It's fine.
And the murderous tendencies.
Right. Just one other thing about recall is it is easier to recall your dreams if you're woken up in the middle of the dream versus if you wake up like in the lull between dreams.
It's like a song. If you end it in the middle, you're gonna remember. It's gonna be in your head all day. But if you hear the whole thing,
until you listen to it.
Yeah, I love dream stuff. I could go on with this all night. But first, I have to share this with you because you're not here.
Aw, look at your snake.
My snake. I draw.
The Being
every
Snake
episode.
Jazz.
I should
Thank you.
put jazz instruments around him. I can draw a snake. I cannot draw an instrument. Let's just get that clear. I can barely draw a snake. It's just
I
fun.
would like to see your snake instruments, please.
I will do my best.
Thank you.
Dreams can get super creepy.
Mm-hmm.
I can
I'll
get
talk
super
more about
creepy.
that next week. Also true. You have so
And
much in common.
Exactly. I am a dream.
Aw, yeah.
So I actually have a creepy topic today. I don't know how I stumbled on this entirely, to be honest with you, but I've been trying to put together a vampire episode. And not like, I'm not just going to talk about Astarion.
Sure.
Not just going to show you pictures.
It'll be Astarion and Stroud and, for some reason, Edward from Twilight.
You know.
None of the other ones, though.
No.
Only Edward. Actually, it would be Jasper.
Exactly. We just talked about. That's why I picked the weird vampire in the corner.
He was at Comic-Con, but I did
Yeah,
not get to see him,
right.
obviously.
I would have asked him to stand in the corner to take a picture with me.
I need you over here,
Can
please.
you please
for
stand in
my
the corner with
podcast.
me? Thank you. So the vampire conversation is much bigger than I can put together in just a few days. It's just gonna be it's coming, but it's taking its time. So I'm gonna tell you guys about Chillingham Castle, and I was super excited when I found this topic. It is in Northumberland, England, and it is said to be the most haunted castle in England. And from what I know, there's a lot of castles to haunt in England.
So this is a big deal.
This is a big deal. They were big on castles to haunt in England for a while there. Construction started on this in the 12th century, and it began as a monastery. Something interesting about it is that it's really near the Scottish border. And something I did not know was that there was a huge war between England and the Scots for a while. So this put it in a place where it was really, really convenient for soldiers who needed to get in and out of Scotland, but also it got beat up a lot. A lot of famous nobility came and went through the years, different princes and princesses, and then it became an army barracks. At that point, they burned a lot of things that were made of wood in the castle to stay warm. They burnt
Fair.
the castle, basically, and ruined it a little bit.
They were like, screw this castle.
Yeah, basically they were. Unfortunately, but fortunately, there's some things that are still there that I'll talk about. So it was in 1982, it was purchased by Sir Humphrey Wakefield, 2nd Baronet.
1982?
Yeah. So from the 12th century until 1982, it did all the things.
It did a lot.
Collecting ghosties.
Okay.
Yes.
Full of ghosts.
Exactly. So this place is... Oh, I'm sorry. In 1982, they restored the castle. That's a very minor point, but I want to make it because I want to talk on it in a little bit. The castle's got a really bloody history. A lot of Scottish people have been killed there, and in very gruesome, icky ways. There was a man named John Sage. This was in the medieval times, during this war. John Sage, and he was nicknamed John Dragfoot because he'd gotten injured in his time in the army. Or
People are clever.
yeah. John Dragfoot. Because you can't put your foot up. Horrible.
Sorry.
He kind of deserved it, though, so we can make fun of John. So he's
Okay.
also known as the Butcher of the Scots, which is a much less friendly nickname. Probably the Scots were making fun of
Yeah.
it.
I prefer Dragfoot.
Yeah. But he was a pretty rough guy. He was ruthless. He was angry. Even people who shouldn't hate him hated him. Like if we hated Brian. So yeah, he hated Scottish people. He was kind of a bad dude. He tortured reportedly more than 50 people a week for 3 years straight. He sucked.
7 people a day.
That'd be exhausting.
Or more than 7 people a day.
I can't imagine.
What if you only torture people 5 days a week? 10 people a day.
That's 5 a week is a work week, so that makes sense. Mm-hmm. He had to drag his foot around the other 2 days. I have more details on these, but I don't think I have the time to go into them, which is actually probably good because it's really gross. He preferred to use something called the wheel, the Iron Maiden, the Iron Chair, and the rack. You can find information on all of those online. I have screenshots of the information.
I'd rather not.
Yeah, no, I looked it up and I was like, yeah, I should share this, and I was kind of like, I don't think anyone wants to know.
I don't want to become that page.
So John was so gross that he also created an iron barrel, it was called the Iron Barrel. It was a wooden barrel with nails in from the side, so the inside was full of nails, and he would put people in it and then roll them across the floor, so it would actively skin them. I'm sorry. Makes my insides feel bad. I don't even have a gallbladder anymore for it to feel bad, but I can feel it feeling bad.
That's where your feel bad feelings come from. From your gallbladder.
That was where my feel bad feelings came from.
It's true. It is very true.
Just wanted to give you a little bit of a feeling of the place. It was, as the Scottish-English War came to an end, all of the prisoners, the Scottish prisoners that were still at the castle, were basically rounded up and killed in front of the children. And then all the children were taken and hacked to death.
Oh.
Why did you need to do that?
Right.
Disgusting.
Make it extra bad before you... Oh.
Yeah, come on. Anyway, so John was later hanged, and he was so hated by people that they showed up. This whole story is graphic. I'm so sorry.
We're gonna need a trigger warning for this.
We are. It's so gross. So people showed up, and they chopped off his appendages as he was hanging to die. And then one report that I had heard said they ate him. Yeah, I hate this guy.
I better divide. You know what'll really show him? If I eat him once he's dead.
If I eat an appendage. And they cut off all of his hanging appendages. Just take that where you will. Ugh. Anyway. Ugh.
No, thank you.
So,
every time, because we are in an interesting day and age, but every time somebody's like, oh, it's every year just gets worse, and how can you even bring children into this world in this day and age? I'm like, well, actually, it was way worse in medieval times.
Hey, did you hear about John Sage and the Scottish-English War?
Let me tell you about John Dragfoot.
You ever heard about the Iron Barrel?
Because we don't have those anymore, so it's gotta be better than it was.
Yes.
That's all I got.
I'm buying it. I'm buying in. So those examples I just wanted to share because the castle was pretty ugly. I mean, not visually, but it had some nasty stuff going on.
So it should be very haunted.
Exactly. They do say that there are over 100 ghosts, individual ghosts haunting the castle. I don't know how they figured that out, but they did.
They took names.
Yeah, exactly. Visitors will, you get the normal stuff from visitors. They say cold spots, and they feel like someone touching their hair or a presence in the room at them. They saw something out of the corner of their eye. They get pictures of floaters. All of the normal stuff. When visitors are taken to, it was I think a tea room. It is now where his torture devices are kept, John Sage's, because they still exist to this day. They had to, I'm burying my own lead here. I'm doing great. I can podcast. It's not even the second episode yet. This is not boding well.
Oh, shoot. We have to do this again.
Start over. The torture devices that John used were still in the castle in 1982 when they were refurbing it. And they chose to bring in someone to do a seance in the specific torture room. And the rumor...
Bad idea.
I know, right? Why? Why do we do this? We're having fun.
This is a good time.
Exactly. The rumor is that the seance went very badly. And so they closed off the torture room. They brought the implements out, closed the torture room, and no one is allowed in there anymore. But there are still bodies down there. However, yeah. So I was like, this is the story I want to tell.
I love dead bodies.
This is the best. So I went looking, and there is nothing about the seance. But almost every single article I found about this place was like, yeah, it was terrible. It was a bad seance. They had to close the room. I need deets. I'm here
Come
for
on,
the
people.
tea. So I don't know the details, but I want to. Anyway.
Yeah.
So when you're in the tea room, which is now in the new torture room, because demons or something, if you stand near the rack specifically, people have said that they can hear the popping and cracking of joints and ligaments.
Oh no. Oh no.
Okay,
Oh.
yes.
Sorry, that got me for some reason.
I know. I'm not going to go further. Okay, so other activity reported within the castle is fully charged batteries, cameras, phones, videos draining immediately, hearing voices, seeing apparitions. This is a place where you actually do see full-bodied apparitions, reportedly, in the courtyard very specifically. And in the Great Hall...
Mysterious ghosts.
Exactly. In the Great Hall, the chairs move on their own. So a lot of creepy stuff going on here. I want to talk about just a few of the ghosts. The most well-known is one called the Blue Boy or the Radiant Boy. He cries from what is known as the Pink Room. You can hear him cry. One article said specifically at midnight. I don't know if that was just like flavor or if that's real. But at midnight, apparently, you will hear someone crying out in, some have said pain, some have said fear.
I imagine they sound pretty similar.
Yeah, and I don't want to... So as you approach where the voice came from, you will stop hearing it. It will stop. It will stop. Keep hitting my microphone. It will stop. That would actually be super creepy.
Right?
Just start talking in a different voice, staring at the camera. That's a Halloween episode.
Can't wait.
I'll not be there for that. I won't either.
Somebody will be.
Nobody. Someone. Just one or more. I do not.
Lots of choices if they're all from there.
I do not give my permission. What is the word I'm looking for?
Allow?
It starts with a succeed. I do not succeed.
True.
Oh, crap. Well, I'll think of the word at some point and shout it out nice and loud.
Perfect.
So, as you approach the room where you're hearing the boy in fear or pain yell, it will stop. And from a specific place, it kind of explained it, but not being there, obviously, I don't know. And you'll see a blue light start to form. And then a little boy will appear wearing blue. And then he will come towards you.
Oh, just what I love.
I was
Small children, small dead children approaching me. favorite.
Who were just crying out in pain or fear.
Yeah.
At least they're not running
Or fear.
past you.
Yeah.
Then I'd be really scared.
Screaming in anger. That could be worse.
Yes. There are many things that could go wrong, grr. Anyway, boy shows up. So at one point they did find bones of a boy in that room, and he had blue scraps of clothing stuck to his bones, which, come on. And he did have the hands and fingers were all broken up. So they believe that he was stuck in a wall, and whether it happened on purpose or not, they don't know, but that he was trying to get out.
Right.
One article said that after they gave him a Christian burial, the activity in the room stopped, but then no other articles mentioned that, so I'm not sure.
Interesting.
There was a woman named Lady Mary, and she was cheated on by her husband, and
Jerk.
he ran off with her sister. Ugh. And then
I mean, but of all the things that have happened in this castle, I feel like this is low on the list.
He kind of gets a pass. Just saying.
At least he wasn't murdering children.
Although we don't know that he wasn't the one to put the boy in the wall.
True.
Or maybe it was his idea to make the iron barrel. I think this was different times.
No, it all happened at once.
Canon, this all happened in 1982.
Shit was going real weird. I don't know why nobody stepped in.
Yeah, 1982 was wild. There was a lot of coke, okay?
It's true.
I know from experience. Having been born 3 years later, I'm basically an expert.
I'm an 80s baby.
So I know. With Lady Mary, she is still there. It is said she is searching for her husband to hopefully kick his ass. And that she carried a bag of rose petals. And you might hear her skirt. You can hear footsteps and whispers. And you smell roses. Unfortunately, she also seems to be a little perturbed because she occasionally pushes people down the stairs.
Like, man, okay, if I'm gonna run into one of these ghosts, that sounds like the one. She won't be mad at me because I'm not her cheating husband, but maybe she'll still accidentally push me down the stairs.
You might be her cheating sister. So
True.
There are several other ghosts about. I want to try to wrap up so I'm not too long. There's one called the Pantry Ghost. There was a room where they kept treasure and food. It was called the Still Room. And each night there was a guard positioned within it. One night the guard went and he was kind of startled by an old woman who was also there with him. And she asked him for a glass of water. So he went to get the water, and when he came back, she was gone. And people still see her in there to this day. This is probably the one you want to see.
Yeah, I'll hang out with the Pantry Ghost.
But there
probably
was
just
also...
eat.
What's up?
We could probably just hang out and eat.
Oh, absolutely. That's my kind of friend. That or you cut them in half. Sorry, Hank. There was also a witch killed in this room, so I guess you gotta be careful. And she cursed the castle. So anything taken from the castle would cause bad luck. So this room is now full of things that have been sent back that people have taken from the castle and had bad luck.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that. I like that part.
Right?
People go on a tour and they go home and they're like, and bad shit starts happening and they're like, I'm just gonna send this back.
I could bring my rock.
This is yours.
Probably still have back to the Muskegon Insane Asylum.
Ooh, I still have those somewhere too.
I think I do too. Very quickly, the gardens, and there's a whole walk area called the Devil's Walk, and that is haunted as well. There are monks there as well as people, because our good friends, the English, hung people to die upside down in the trees, and the monks felt bad for them and they let them down. And when the soldiers found them doing that, they hung the monks as well. So they all died.
Why wouldn't you?
Now, one thing I will say, when I started this, I was super excited. I like, this is going to be a good one. And I was interested to see all the stories. The problem was that as I started diving into this, I found there actually fewer articles than you would imagine on it, less information than you could find, than you would picture being out there available for it. And I love to watch YouTube videos or listen to them while I'm working so that I can absorb the information, like new information, or confirm what I've already written down or whatever. Almost every video out there on this is a ghost hunter video. There is a theory that the castle, of course, yes, it does have a bad bloody history. There's actually a theory that when they bought it in 1982, they decided it was going to be an attraction, like a haunted house. It was going to be the haunt.
They needed some more Halloween stuff.
Exactly. So. One hallway gets smaller at the end, and there's a lady down there ready to scream at you and run.
With a chainsaw.
Yes. That's one of the theories about it, that it maybe doesn't have all of this activity, and it's more of an attraction at this point. I think the history of it was cool. I won't say it's cool. But
I could see how, like, somebody would buy it with that history.
Absolutely.
And be like, we could do some cool stuff with this.
Yes. Or even appreciating the history and then sort of playing off what worked for you. I mean, I don't know if I condone it so much, but... And the place is English, Scottish history, and a lot of, like, the royals and stuff that stayed there. That is cool. Like, there was a lot of rich history on it. I almost was like, I should have saved this for Bree. And then I took it anyway.
This is almost a Bree topic.
Selfish.
And then murder.
Yeah. But that's the Chillingham Castle in England. If we ever get a chance, we should go see it during the day.
Okay.
You can stay the night there.
Yes, please. Oh, thank you.
I don't want to do that.
No.
And
I don't want to risk that many ghosts.
No.
My limit is like 35.
Especially if they know that we've been 100. Making fun of them.
I say
30. No. I'll remember that your limit is 35, though. It's important.
Thank you.
Got it.
It's a hard limit for me.
That's where we stop.
So this has been the first virtual Dungeons and Dopamine podcast.
Yeah, I feel like 8-bit music should play. You can listen to us anywhere you stream podcasts, and on YouTube, and on Twitch now. I Twitch.
Look, we're getting really good at this, you guys.
We're gonna be amazing.
You can also support us on Patreon at www.patreon.com/dungeonsdopamine.
You can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Insta, Reddit, Twitch, and we have a Discord server. You can hang out with us. You can't get away from us.
You could be listening to us record right now if you knew how to get in here.
You have to be invited, but maybe we'll invite you.
Yeah.
We're pretty desperate for attention.
Only. In case you couldn't tell.
Yeah, so find us.
You can also reach out to us on any of those social medias, or here, or on also TikTok, sure. And also you can email us at dungeonsdopamine@yahoo.com.
Dungeons and Dopamine is edited and published by Argyle Pigeon Productions.
We even have a new picture of our Argyle pigeon.
I think I want to name him Arnie. Arnie the Argyle pigeon.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. We love you.
Okay.
Bye.
Love you. Okay, bye.